This is Phil Golfi with Remax the Golfi team. Welcome to the Golfi Real Estate Show with host Stephanie Vivier and special guest Devin from Land Art Landscaping.
Well, welcome, Phil, and welcome, Devin. Excited to get to know Devin a little bit more, and great to have you back on the show, Phil.
Yes, our second show together. I am back in the hot seat. Rob is away on special assignment. I actually don't know where he is or what he's doing, but he sent me a text last night, and he said, "Hey, I need you to hop on the show with Steph."
It'd be either through traditional refinancing or quite often these are properties where a client is either downsizing or this is their forever retirement home and they want to make it something special. So they've come with a lot of equity to the property and they're ready to make some investments.
Yeah. And one of the things that I see often is people love where they live, right? Everyone, if you grew up in a certain neighborhood, you get along with your neighbors, you love the area that you live, but it just doesn't have that. Maybe you need a bigger house, or maybe you're looking for a different style of home. And so we often see people contemplate this, should I sell and go buy, or should I renovate? And there's always so many people kind of juggling that what should I do? And I'm sure you meet with a lot of people who are juggling that question, because I meet with them too. It's like, hey, what does selling and buying a new house look like? And also, what does staying here and renovating look like? And what's your advice for people that are, might be contemplating that question right now?
Yeah. My advice is get an opinion on what can we do with this property. If you love your neighborhood, if you love the area you're in, there's potential in the neighborhood for kind of continued growth and continued investment, then get an opinion from a designer, from a contractor. How much is a project like what you're thinking to achieve the goals that you're looking for going to cost? Get an opinion on that, and then weigh that against how much the dream home would cost. And moving always going to come with different expenses and costs to transfer to a new home, versus all of that going right back into the home, maintaining the value in the home, maintaining the equity in the home. If it's a 10-year, 15-year plan to be in that property, renovating often makes sense.
Absolutely.
I have a question, Devin, if I can jump in here. This is exactly the situation we're in at my home. And we live in one of those neighborhoods where it's like every house kind of looks the same. And that bums me out when I come up to the house, but I love the location and I love the neighborhood. So we've been thinking, do something maybe in the front yard to make it be a little bit different. When you come to give some options for people, do they need to know what they want? Are you guys good at making suggestions? And do you charge for that and then take it off if they're doing the project? Like, how does that all work?
Yeah, so we never charge for an initial consultation. So we come out, we hear what your gripes are, what you like, what you don't like about the current space, and we're going to show you inspiration pictures, things we might have done before, or kind of open it wide open to the Pinterest world and get your ideas there. And then we'll come back to you with proposals and ideas and budget ranges for some of those ideas, and you can take those and see what might make sense. But yes, we're completely coming with new and creative ideas that you probably never thought about before.
That's good, because I'm not, like, if I knew what to do, I probably would have done it already. It's just like, I don't know. So I love that you guys are ready to do that for us.
Yeah, and speaking for me, it's like, I have all these other little projects around my house that I want to get to, but it's like, one project's going to lead to another project, and then it's like the priority list of like, what do I want to tackle first? And that's my problem. We've met about it. It's like, this is my vision, this is my idea. I don't want to do it all at once. I'm not into that. I want to start to pick away at it. And you highlighted and kind of created this, or talked about creating this plan. It's like, okay, well, give me all your ideas, and then we'll do them in phases of what you're comfortable with, and just speak to that and I know there's a lot of people out there who can overwhelm themselves. It's like, hey, I want to do everything, and then the worst part about that is, guess what, you don't do anything when you want to do it all. So it's kind of creating a 4-phase, a 5, even a 6-phase plan in terms of you start to pick away at a project every season or every year, and then in the end, it's a beautiful home. But I'll let you speak to that, but it reminded me of something when I said that, is people have these houses that are just never ending, right? they're just constant renovation projects that go on forever. I feel like I'm one of those people, but just speak to creating those plans for people that are in similar positions.
Yeah. The vast majority of our projects are phased. We hear them, we see what property and the home is already, and build out a master plan for that project. So let's put all the ideas down on paper. Let's get pricing on everything. Let's get details on everything, and then kind of break it down step by step. What makes sense year one? What makes sense year two? Not undoing or redoing things. That's kind of people's worst nightmare sometimes is, we just did a project and now we got to take it down again. Putting together a long-term relationship and a long-term approach to a project. And that's how we work with a lot of our clients.
That's amazing. Stephanie, anything else?
Yeah, no, I love that you brought him on, Phil, because I think this time of year, it's difficult. I don't know how everybody else's relationships are, but like, you know, my husband has me, so he has everything, right? So it's a good time of year, like maybe give this to each other as a gift, right? That you want to enjoy your home more, or, you know, if you are looking at moving, like what a great time of year to start dreaming. It's coming up on the new year. So to dream about what's happening in the new year. Are you guys busy this time of year, Devin?
This time, like December is quite a slow month for us, probably similar to the real estate industry. It's people are kind of getting ready for the holidays. They don't want to start new conversations. But January, basically January 1st is the phones start opening up, and people have been sitting at home. They want to get a project done. And so it's great to kind of get ahead of the game and kind of book in some of that design time early in the year, and it usually takes 2-3 months to get designs in place and then permits from there.
Okay, so do it now because they're quiet. So we'll answer your call and follow them on Instagram. I was just scrolling through your Instagram, just beautiful, beautiful stuff there. You'll definitely get inspired. Devin, what area do you guys cover?
So our office is in Beamsville, and we service everywhere from Niagara Falls right through to Burlington and just into Oakville.
All right, fantastic. Devin from Land Art Landscaping, thank you so much for being here, renovation and landscape contractors. You're listening to the Golfi Real Estate Show. Phil Golfi is here. He's going to stick around. We've got more next here on News Talk 610. Welcome back to the Golfi Real Estate Show. I'm Steph Vivier, and Phil Golfi is with us with the RE/MAX Golfi team. Phil, you brought along with you today Devin from Land Art Landscaping, and of course now I am renovating my house in my mind, or perhaps I might move, because we got some big announcement this week from the Bank of Canada. So they cut the key interest rate by 50 basis points. This is the second 50 basis points and the fifth cut in a row from the Bank of Canada. Many reasons for that. Now, you started by telling us that, you know, the market's a little flat, but this is a good time for those first-time home buyers to really take their time, see what's out there on the market. What are you thinking is going to happen now that this big cut has come and we're at 3.25%?
Yeah, I mean, we've had a number of big cuts. I feel like 2024 was like the year of interest rate cuts. That's all we were looking forward to. We were battling this high inflation all year, and then finally, right in the latter months of November, December, we finally got it under control. And now we're battling this thing called unemployment, and our unemployment rate just continues to climb. I think it was upwards of 6.8% as of recently, and now this Canadian dollar is just diving on us. So it's it was super interesting. In 2024, we started at 5% in terms of our overnight rate from the Bank of Canada, and we saw our first rate reduction in May. Another, which was 25%, 25 basis points, another one in July, another one in September, and then we went into 50% in October, and then 50 basis points again in December. So we've climbed our way down from the beginning of 2024 at 5% all the way down to 3.75. Now, we're going to get into a market here where we're not going to see the interest rate rapidly decline as fast as we saw it decline in 2024. We're going to start to see more interest rate holds depending on you know how the market's doing, where the inflation rate goes, what happens to unemployment, but the major it's like, where are we going to end up and get that flat interest rate that we saw for a number of years through 2017, 2018, and just more of a predictable level of an interest rate. So we don't all have to be on pins and needles and worrying about where our payments are going to go and what's going to happen with our mortgage payments. So a lot of people are predicting by the end of 2026, we're going to be at 2.5 or 2.75 in terms of an overnight rate. So from where we are now in terms of 2020 to the end of 2026, we're going to see changes, but we're not going to see those dramatic 50 basis point drops like we saw in the last 2 months. So we're getting there. We're not there yet, but this is a really good sign, especially for people who, were on those variable mortgages that, they signed at 1.5% or 2% and then just saw them take off and go through the roof and get upwards of 7 and 8% and saw their payments rise rapidly. I mean, that was a huge issue in terms of our market where these payments, increase so rapidly, they become unaffordable for people that were carrying big mortgage amounts. So that's where we're at. It's super interesting. Now, BMO Financial Group did a study and they said 71% of would-be first-time home buyers put their home buying plans on hold to see interest rates drop, meaning that they're going to come to the market in 2025, or they said they would, just due to reduced interest rates. We're going to get that group of buyers, right? The first-time home buyer will be back in the market in 2025. The investor and the first-time investor will be back in the market in 2025. So we're going to see a lot more movement in the real estate market next year in comparison to 2024. We're going to see a lot more people. We're going to see a lot more sales. We're going to see a lot more people moving who had put their move on hold. There's a lot of houses that came up on the market this year and did not sell. Those houses are coming back next year for sale. There's going to be a lot of new sellers that are going to be coming to the market next year. We're in a different sort of time right now in terms of what's going on with housing. Housing starts are way down, like the lowest they've ever been. We have a province, we have governments that are saying that we need to build houses faster, we need to build more homes, but unfortunately that's not translating to the municipal governments. There's still a ton of red tape, and I know Devin can speak to this, and we always talk about this. The amount of time it takes to get permits and the red tape around developments today is astronomical, that it's just so hard to build houses faster and at the rapid pace that we need them to keep up with the new immigrants that are coming to Canada. So I always say this, and I feel like I say it every year, and maybe it's just true. I always say we're in this transitional year that absolutely nobody can predict. We don't know what's going to happen next year, but all the major forecasts are pointing towards increased sales. We're going to see a slight increase in terms of average sale price. That's going to take a jump up. There was a national report that came out. It said it could be as high as 10% in some areas, but in your Niagara market or your Greater Toronto Hamilton area, it's not. I don't believe it's going to be that high. But it's interest rates was the name of the topic in 2024. It's all we talked about, and they're finally down to, I guess, what I would call a moderate level. I know, there's a bunch of older people that are punching their steering wheel right now and saying, well, when I first bought my house, I paid 18.5%, and the early 90s this, and my dad always talks about it. So, but for my generation, I'm 31 years old. For my generation, a 6.5% or 7% interest rate is freaking high for us. And so if once we get it down, and you can get a fixed 5-year fixed rate mortgage right now for well under 5%. So 5-year fixed rate mortgages are going for 4.6 to 4.75%, would be a competitive rate right now as it stands today. So super exciting stuff in our market. And I went on a little bit of a rant there, but that's a synopsis in terms of what's going on with interest rates.
Well, there's so much about it. And just like you said, Phil, it's really been the story of 2024. Even if people weren't moving, like it really just came up in conversation so much. And I know through the Golfi Real Estate Show, you and Rob are going to continue to update us as we go on this frontier, this wild ride of whatever 2025 is going to be. Let's talk scams. Well, thanks so much for letting us into your circle today. You can give the Golfi team a call at 905-641-0308. Devin from Land Art Landscaping, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
All right. And thank you, Phil.
Yeah, of course. Always a pleasure. I need to get on the show more.
Absolutely. You got to wrestle that mic away from Rob. This is the Golfi Real Estate Show on News Talk 610 CKTP.